Surprise, Henry. Whoa, my mom jumping out and scaring you there. Look out, Henry. Okay. That looks like a decent amount of people. Maybe we can kind of get started here. So all season this season, that's some long clapping. That's the long clap track. Okay, all season this season, I've been opening the show with a poem, typically by a local poet or by a poet who has been dead so long that their work is in the public domain. Because we are recording all of our shows this year, typically we do live shows, and I can do whatever I want with whoever I want's work, for the purposes of satire and within a certain percentage of the pages under the Fair Use Act. No. Okay. So tonight I'm going to open the show with History of a Tiger. It's a poem by Jake Kennedy. He's a local poet, teaches at OC. So here it is. History of a Tiger. How should it, jaws locked, explain to the victim a coming-of-age story? First, it uncovers shared fears and draws connections between all communities. Blood appears. The marvel is that normal people really do understand extraordinary suffering. Go on, they say, yet the tiger never implicates. There is a 1 in 1,000 probability that the subject or the subject's family will be swallowed whole. Inside the universe is reportedly a suburban night. Is this improbable? An electronic piano plays. Is this implausible? The moon comes through the eyes and courses down the black hill of the throat. That sliding light is phosphorescent indigo. This tunnel is a history of strange torsions. It is as if the victim's face is wearing the mask of the tiger, breathing its breath and seeing its sights. The video shows beyond comradeship. Eating a stranger offers moments of religious euphoria. At the last, human body has discovered the point of being a sports fan and begins screaming for itself. It does not read late into the night. It lives at a sensitive remove from language and its catching inexactitude, wanting, seeking, finding. We know it is not a linear enterprise. As the morning rises in the shape of half an eyeball, all beliefs are anew. The sunlight offers a version of the way the world used to see itself yesterday. One way of illuminating the future over and over again. And that is what makes the tiger so sleepy. That was Jake Kennedy, and this is Inspired Word Café. All right, let's get some fake applause, some home applause. I know we do all the applauding for you here these days, but I want that fake applause coming in from home. It's so nice to have everyone has their cameras on today. Everyone must be feeling like lonely. When we first started the season, there were so few cameras on. Mark's just sparking a doobie. Nice, Mark. Oh, having a vape. Okay. So as always, we would also like to start the show acknowledging that we are on the unceded and ancestral territory of the Okanagan Silk people. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to create art and do the shows that we do as guests on their land. But it's as always, it's worth noting that we are uninvited guests. And, that's something to kind of sit with and figure out ways that we can be productive uninvited guests on Okanagan land. If you want to put into the chat what land you're on right now, if you know it, if you don't know it, this is a wonderful opportunity to do a little research and see whose land you're on right now. Shimshon did the recording. Did everyone hear the thing that said, "Hey everyone, this is being recorded"? Did you hear that? You heard that? Okay.
Yeah, they all got it.
Okay, they got it. I've got in here. Tell people it's being recorded and why. Funny stuff, really funny stuff. So we've got 5. You're slow on the laugh track tonight, Shimshon. It's like we're watching a foreign film. Okay, so we got a 5-slot open mic tonight. But before we get to that, I want to talk about some of the great stuff. I want to take a moment first to kind of just like say thank you to all of the people who kept IWC going this year. I think as it's our last open mic, it's worth really noting, like, we didn't cancel a single show this season. From September to now, we've put on every show. We've kept our numbers up high despite being moved online. We've gotten funding to do some really wonderful projects, like the video poem project that we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. The youth mentorship that's coming up that I'll plug a little bit for you here, where we're going to be doing a zine making workshop. It's been this really amazing year. And when a lot of other organizations have really struggled, a lot of organizations didn't put on any of their programming this year. We've been lucky enough to be able to do a type of programming that moves easily into the online format. But I'd love just like a round of applause for everyone at IWC that's kept that going, and all of the people who have come out to all of the events all year, the wonderful people who have supported us and donated every time we do an event. So on that note, we've got some. Please stop. But on that note, we've got a few things that I wanted to announce, and I'll kind of come back to them again at the end. But keep your eyes and ears open on our social media, because this is the last open mic of the year doesn't mean it's the last thing of the season. So right now we're sort of in the middle of our youth mentorship program. We're going into 3 high schools and the college, and we're offering sort of basic spoken word training. And all of that's going to culminate in our yearly youth showcase in May. That'll sort of give the youths a chance to sort of strut their stuff and show us the things they learned in the program. And it's turned into a really big thing this year. So we're pretty stoked. So keep an eye out for that. There'll be lots of kind of content coming through, but also we'll have the youth showcase, which is always kind of one of the most amazing events every year, because we come out and we listen to poems week in and week out, but whenever the youth event happens, this like amazing thing happens where the youths, they just blow your mind. Like the writing that they're capable of, the ideas that they're capable of, the things they put down on paper, the courage they have to kind of get up and share it. It's really inspiring stuff. So keep your eye out for that. The podcast is going to run some episodes throughout the summer. We've just dropped an episode that we'll do a preview for you later on. But if you're yearning for the IWC content, give a listen to the podcast throughout the summer. The Zine Workshop, we've gotten some funding from the City of Kelowna to do a Zine Workshop in June. Ken is going to run that for us, and we're gonna make some really rad DIY zines. We're only going to listen to Riot Girl tunes the whole time. That's mandatory. It's gonna be at Mission Creek Park. They've got that kind of like cool eco center that opens up. So we're going to do some stuff there. We're going to have a green space. People are going to be able to kind of walk by and participate. We're going to do up zine bags, and people are going to be able to take them home and participate from home if you're not comfortable participating outside in person. Obviously, depending on what restrictions are, we may have to adjust that anyway, but we got some really rad stuff coming up. We may do another event in the summer as well, a reading that's sort of nothing's confirmed yet. So the gist of it is keep your ears and eyes open for lots of IWC stuff this summer to keep you entertained while we wait for the slow Canadian government to slowly vaccinate everyone one at a time. They're getting to it. Let's have some patience. Kurt, Jesus, see you over there shaking your head. Have some patience. Okay, did I forget anything? Anyone have any news, anything noteworthy that I should be announcing in this little housekeeping section? Cool stuff? Nothing. Oh, Kurt's book's still out. It's out there in the world.
And, if you want to know more about Kurt's book, you might want to tune into the podcast in the near future, the not too distant future, maybe.
That is strategic programming. I love it. Somebody really put together some smart stuff, programming all that and, interlacing it all. So you can't help but click on the next IWC feature, the next link in the IWC wiki. Okay. So we're going to get to the open mic now. So as always, during the open mic, please, let's show our support. Show your support at home. Let's have some clapping, snapping, even though the sound of it will be done for you. Let's keep the chat active. It's so nice to have a little bit of support from people in the chat. So first up to the mic, if you're out there, if you got your ears on out there, Stephanie Thoreson. Stephanie, woo!
Hi. Anger, repressed fury erodes the foundation that once held our home steady. We drowned in the river of our rage, choking on war we'd never openly wage. Furrowed brow hints at tectonic shifts, frustrating, fracturing the roots of a family tree that never flourished. Patio stones cover rotted vegetation, soured by the corpse of my trust that was slaughtered so soon. Expectations lay buried alongside dreams, their stench masked by anger's smoke. The fire pit warming those stones is fueled by our resentment. I ruined your life with my mortality, and you mine with that mentality. Minotaur. Lost in a web of forgotten falsehoods, convincing myself they reflect reality, hedges trimmed to fit the neighborhood, losing track of what shape was natural, following breadcrumbs in circles, crows devouring hope of finding home. Community does not call me from the maze, friendship fails to flag me down, work replaced me while I tried to reach it, no partner held me on this path. Footprints go in all directions, society left no manageable map. Sun hides behind scheming storm clouds that withhold their cleansing shower. Fear tingles at the base of my spine. It sits heavy on my collarbone. It pulls at my hair, presses on the roots of my teeth. I was warned there would be a beast to face, and skilled in combat, I was unfazed, but this is not a game for snipers or melee. The deepest spirals of the labyrinth are reflective. The monster in these mirrors is gruesome. Her empty eyes are unfamiliar, set in a face whose new shadows haunt me. Her frustrated howl at the sight of me is the Minotaur's release. Spiraling in the haze of the mind's maze, neuroglitch, this bitch, my catchphrase. Blindfolded spin and pin the tail, miss the ass or be the pinata. Sweetness spills from my wounds, capture the pieces of me lost in the grass of the labyrinth, broken glass of a backwards compass. Finding myself is a nightmare, afraid of the thoughts we share. Corn stalks obscure the path away from the mirror's wrath. And
Sorry, Stephanie, I didn't know if you were going to read another one, so I was kind of waiting to jump back in. But thank you. Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
That was awesome. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks for coming out and sharing poems this year. It's been so nice to have your voice out at IWC the last couple of events.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have another round of applause for Stephanie. Breaking the ice on the last show. All right. The next poet, you've been thirsting for the next time they would take the mic. It's been too long since you've heard their words. You're going to hear their words in video form again later. Mark, did you want to read a poem? I signed you up, buddy. I always sign you up. I didn't ask you this time.
I'm in.
All right. I thought you'd be in. Maybe just a couple quick ones, Mark, and because we're going to get to your video poem later.
Okay, this one's called Breathe. I've lived a lot of nightmares and dreamed a lot of dreams. It hasn't been all peaches and cream. Now, what can I say from the very start? I'm here to help you enjoy your day, so listen closely and follow your heart. Strive keeps you alive, thrust into a world one cannot believe. It takes many to succeed, so tread gently and slowly let it all out and breathe. Thanks. One more. This one I can't say enough about. It's called Natural Disaster. Man is not immortal, it comes as no surprise. His judgment is crucial in his own demise. Wars within countries we are sure to fall. Aftermath no one sees, twisted buildings and crumbled walls. Polluted skies, heavens above. Acid rain turns melt to rust. This land we once loved, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Too late for sympathy, damage has been done. Are we prisoners of society? God bless each and every one. In this world in which we live, you consider principles of the door. Mankind forgets, make love, not war. Thanks, guys.
Woo! Thanks, Mark. It was looking pretty bleak there in the middle of that poem until there was the part about doing it at the end. I don't know. It wasn't your usual uplifting, but then you turned it around. You turned it around, Mark. Okay. Next up to the mic, we have a recent addition to the Inspired Word Café collective. He's been sort of slaying the slams the last couple of years, and you know, he's shown an interest in kind of coming to help IWC out, and we're really thrilled to have him on board. So let's have a warm IWC welcome for Travis Andrews.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, thanks very much. IWC was a huge part of 2020 for me, and it was kind of that moment I was able to find my voice, and I'd always been writing poetry for ages, and I just wanted somewhere to share it. So a Google search led me to where we are now, and that was a very important search for, you know, my artistic life, as it turned out. So I'm really grateful to IWC, and thanks so much for having me. So if possible, I'm going to read two. Feel free to hit me with the hook around the neck if the first one runs too long, but I don't know how much backstory I can do here, but I wrote a fictional poem and converted it into a song, and I'm going to do the lyrics for that now. It's about a man who was banished from his home / kingdom to wander the forest forever, and he eventually wanders the forest forever and becomes a minor forest god worshipped by the people around, and he continues his journey. The darkest evening, a void bereft of meaning, nails dig and reach to replay that old beating, pulsing and seething, convulsing, entreating, results so unseemly, a gulf in mind seeing, shapes of tears that sleep before dawn, etched out in outlines that show where they spawned, in the time long before the sun showed us her face. Gone are the days where I met her embrace, a life spawned in hearth zones, I hark homes in heart's bone, Oz cordis I'll be, my beats near unto thee. I have spoken to the birds and the earth and the trees, the pleas that were gasped as dawn made its reprieve, my eternal lie, so manic this schema until my breath and my bone feed fly amanita. Beyond the bounds of these boughs lies my anathema, the leaves seize at their cheeks that fluttered tachypnea, exile, the words still echo round my ears, years past and my laughter is still plastered in jeers, aghast where the gasps rasp past their veneers, an outcast to lambast smashed flat so severe. Those days are so gone, I've seen more full moons than you've dawns. I move with the corvid, cervidae and the fawn. I have surveyed the ones who spat forth the mason, the last the world sees amidst its denouement. Lost. None more lost than me, and though it's my home that I roam as I weep, feet churning the soil, oh the loam grows so deep, combs made of bones that I pluck from the trees, so it seems. The wind hisses speckled mist, linked ivy's timely kiss, the seasons adrift, a legion amiss, I cast a wink at the rift with no reason to live. With a crown of leaved vines and a beckoning call, a flicker of light, in the blink of the pall, he wanders his home, dead but for all. Those who revere and pray that he never halts, please never halt. Thank you. And if I can do another, I will, if there's time.
Yeah, do it, man.
Okay. As it's the
Karen and Becky say that was Pog. I don't know.
You know,
don't
that's
totally
really,
know what that means.
That's really
but
what I go for, you know. I had to have that one explained to me. If I feel like I aged about 60 years when someone explained that one to me. Okay, as this is the last one of the season, and as Cole gave me that such a nice introduction, I thought it would be kind of thematically appropriate to read the first poem I ever read with IWC. So we're gonna go back. I'm gonna bust out the red notebook. This poem is called "I Hate You, Don't Leave."
I'll read it to you.
A match made in heaven, this girl is the best. When I think of you in my life, they are paired for the rest. So perfect, divine, the two of us marching in time. I'll trade you for nothing and praise the heavens that you're mine. We have fun together, laugh together, drink, do drugs, make love together. My lover, forever, our poems and love letters. If I'm dreaming, leave me be, because in this world, things are better. I've never felt so alive, so wanted and so desired, and she makes me feel like who I am is the greatest treasure she's acquired. We'll set the world afire, and beneath bed sheets are the stars we will quietly conspire to tear the heavens from the sky and burn them upon our pyres. Love and lust so sinfully smolders, scalding in her eyes. I'll build you anything. I'll go beneath the earth to where the levees spring, and then I'll burn it down to just see your shining manic grin. Anything, anything, for you are queen and I am king. And looking back, I have to wonder, with these tendrils in my heart, had the seeds already been planted and were they growing from the start? Was this simply phase one, love bombing, the hook? Or did we truly live as if sprung from the pages of a book? Because as days crept into weeks and the weeks into the months, and from that very first time, my statements were met with naught but grunts. Only 2 steps past how things had shined so brightly once, and that so the gaze turned slowly, searching, pondering past affronts. I'll relate to you a metaphor. Perhaps it's not the best, but since I first encountered it, my heart, it has not left. Imagine digging in the desert. This was once your own oasis. Did it dry up through some misfortune, or was it simply your complacence? You don't know. Your back groans as you shift the sand and stones, digging further down away from where you once called home. Your chest burns and throat yearns, aching only for that drink, that refreshing gulp of water where once there'd been so much that spring. Friends and family gaze down, confused, bemused, befuddled. Further and farther away, can hardly see them through the rubble. Look up, can't hardly see them, but when I break through this sand and mud, I'll show you, you'll see. Look here, there is a puddle. And you drink so thirstily. See, this wasn't a mistake. Why, I bet you just 5 feet down, I'll find an oasis, no, a lake. And as time goes by, here is where you stay, starving and barely nourished. But you know this is the place, your place, where once such love was nourished. I'll toil harder, so you say, because any day here, you'll find what you've been searching for, the thing that you await. So you turn your gaze down and stare. This is your fault. Repair all the broken parts that you perceive to be the reason. You've been digging for a season. Your heart is barely beating. Your lungs, they strain when breathing. So you wipe your brow and look up at that faint and flickering light. So hard to climb up. Would it even be worth the fight? Friends have long stopped watching. Family turned away and talking. Gaze at the dusty dirt and a voice whispers caution. Aching muscles and tired heart, you gaze into the earth. Put down your shovel, head in hands, this absolute dearth. That occasional sweet mouthful, so long it had sustained you. So far away from others, your soul it feels stained through. F this, I quit. I cannot do this anymore. And as you begin to climb, water rises from the floor. Thank you.
Hey, Travis, you should, you really got such rhythm and rhyme. You should really consider hip hop.
Wow, you know, that's an interesting concept. I wonder what that would be like.
There's the laugh track. All right.
There we
Okay.
go.
Thanks, Travis. Let's have
Instagram
another
at
round of
Frantic
applause for
Rhymes.
Travis. Yeah, woo, Travis. It's so good. Yeah.
Sorry, the app just had a little issue. I had to restart it, but lots of applause.
Sure. Blame the app. The app
Here.
did it. There we go. Okay. Now my ego is filled to the brim. Next up to the mic, we have another IWC familiar face. Gonna read some new poems. I think I saw in a post of some kind on one of the social medias. I don't know if you're into the Insta jams, but I saw something there about it. So Let's have a warm IWC welcome for Mackenzie Shaw.
Hello. How is my audio? Good. Thumbs up. I see thumbs up. All right. I do have some new poems. I feel like I say every open mic, it's like, oh, it's been a down week, and then I realized my periods sync up with the open mic night, so that's what's been happening. This first poem is called For the Birds. The birds don't know about daylight savings, so they wake you from your sleep. More lost time is all that you can think. Even through earbuds, starling chatter eats your brain. Overlapping, I miss you, I'll never see you again. And for the rest of the day, you play pretend. The shower shakes the hollow bones that hold your lungs. Convince yourself not to punch the tub. The morning doves coo and crawl under the sleepy. The morning dove coos and crawls under the salty damp of your pillow. Feel it now, you'll be numb again tomorrow. Thank you. This next one is called Soon, another new one. Another one about grief though, so you could say same old, same old. We toured the hospice, where they called waiting palliative care. Beside the bridge, where the pro-life radicals protested across the street. We told you they had a big screen TV. Let's go, you said, translated from a throaty gurgle and jerky thumb. Soon, we said. But disease doesn't wait. The next day, you pointed to the window, or just beside it. Could you see death's door, an angel, your father? Let's go, you said, when I had to go home. Soon, I said. But whatever you saw crept down your throat, a turn for the worse, translated to comatose. In the movies, eyes close with the brush of a hand, and the beeping stops in the matter of seconds. But it took too long, and I was telling you to go quicker. Please sleep, so Mom will stop saying, close your eyes, Pete. Sam scratched the date into the wet cement of the back porch, the renovation that was supposed to be yours. He couldn't watch, so Papa took him outside. I stayed to watch your body die, not in strength, but in a sick sense of pride. Because to me, it didn't matter where you died, but I guess we needed something to fill our minds, just keep us preoccupied, planning the future that you wouldn't survive. Thanks. I do have one more if I have time.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I will say that this one talks about rape. So if that is something that's not comfortable for you to listen to, I understand. Tune out for a minute. It's called Congratulations. Hooray, you've never been raped. Good for you. You're not just lucky, you earned this. It took so much hard work. Walking faster after dark, never wearing skirts, sanding down the salacious edges of your femininity for your own safety. Your hair is cut short and your curves aren't languid. You can be one of the boys, master of the not like other girls language. You've never been raped and you should celebrate. So smart and good of you, never putting yourself in harm's way. You know better than to accept kindness for kindness' sake and how to hold your keys so you'll make it home safe. Consider yourself a demonstration of not all men. Be grateful for the protection of patriarchal ownership that comes with having a boyfriend. If you are taken, you can't be taken. Catcalls aren't warnings, they're cheers for your being in line and in place. You've been such a good girl, and good girls don't get raped. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks.
Now let's have another round of applause for Ken. So nice to hear some new poems. Your weeks are allowed to be bummers every time as well. That's why you come here, hopefully. Okay, so rounding out the open mic, another familiar face, but one that we haven't seen as much this year. But it's so wonderful to. I think the last time I heard her read was during maybe the kickoff or one of the early events down at the Alternator. Maddie came down and read. So let's have a huge IWC welcome for Maddie Bishop. Maddie.
Hi. Sorry for the. Can you guys hear me first of all? Yeah. Okay. Sorry for the weird angle. My boyfriend has for some reason put his camera on the wall.
You look like Joe Rogan. It's cool.
Oh my God. Yeah. I have new poems today, which is new for me. And I'm actually at my boyfriend's house right now, and it's about him, and it's not super great, so he's in the other room. All right. This poem is about me. I have not and will not let you taint my art with your presence. You will not be my muse. You will not be the subject of my words, nor my pen, nor the hand that holds yours. This is a poem about myself, joy and love and the worth I have, not the worth I've had to earn for you. You won't be slipping into my other poems, an offhand line only added because of how I thought everything was about you. I won't let you taint my art. This poem is not about you. It's about every moment I spent in my life, and some of these moments happen to include you. I can only feel myself forgiving you as I write, words pouring from my hands into a note app, wishing it was more clinical feeling and less revealing. Maybe this is where I should stop. I can feel myself slipping into writing about what I must have done wrong. I don't think I can face that yet without letting it consume me. None of us is at fault. That's what I will convince myself of, at least. But this poem is not about you. I will not let you taint my art. You will not be my art. You never were my art. I am my art. I am my own art. All right, and I have one more. It's just have to scroll through my notes app in here. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Okay. Fuck British Columbia. Vancouver and Kamloops too. Bring me back to mosquito-infested sloughs. Drown me until the doctors do not revive. Fuck Kelowna and Powell River. Chilliwack and all its corn can't hold a candle to canola oceans and Camrose puffed wheat. Fuck the deer on Lakeshore and the cougars in the hills. I'm not talking about the animal. Fuck Penticton and the pursuit of excellence kids that think they're going to make it to the NHL if their parents spend too much money on pro sticks and not enough on a decent haircut. Fuck Whistler and all her snow bunny boys. Don't show me your goggle tan and pretend it's cool. Where are those suburban rabbits that turned white in the winter, in the summer brown? Threats of fire being a fear, not an expectation. That's where I want to be. Home is where I want to be.
Yeah, Maddie, I want to read that poem. fuck Penticton, fuck Kelowna. That's a good time. You probably don't want to know what happened to the rabbits, though, Maddie, because
no, I don't.
The rabbits, they used to be around and they're not around anymore.
Yeah.
And I think some of them went to a nice rabbit farm altogether.
Maybe.
Other rabbits were not so lucky. I should have said that in like a David Attenborough voice. Some went to a pasture out in the East Kelowna. Others did not survive the winter. Yeah, that wasn't a bad Attenborough. Okay, so that wraps up the open mic. Thank you, Maddie. Thanks all the open mic readers for coming out, sharing your words. It was so nice to kind of hear some new poems from IWC folks. We're gonna take a short moment. Shimshon is going to run the podcast trailer. if you're super keen, stick around. Turn your mic up if you got to go do something so you can hear the trailer, and if not, just take a 5-minute break and we'll be back in a couple minutes here to screen some video poems.
Hi, glad you could make it. Got your coffee?
Tea?
Scone? All right then, let's get started. Welcome to the Inspired Word Café. I'm Shimshon.
And I'm Em.
And this is a podcast that brings all the excitement of the written and spoken words of the Inspired Word Café home to your headphones.
Whether you've been to one of our reading events, poetry slams, or workshops before,
or even if this is your first time hearing about the Inspired Word Café,
we've got a little something to scratch your writerly, readerly, literary itches.
That's right. Every month we'll be bringing you a well-caffeinated dose of poetry, prose, and all the fresh brewed goodness of the written word.
Here we'll be shining our coffeehouse spotlight on local writers from in and around the Okanagan Valley.
Plus, stay tuned for our special episodes of Inspired Word Café live events, which will be dropping while they're hot.
Subscribe now to the Inspired Word Café podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the Google Podcasts app.
Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. Thanks for stopping by the cafe.
Cole, you're muted.
Henry says, I'd like to walk down the street with this bumping. Me too, Henry. Me too. Okay, so that was the podcast trailer. Tune in. Henry, where are you going? Going to the fridge? What is that, a microwave? Pretty nice, pretty swanky stuff, Henry. Next we're gonna play the video poems. So what video poems? What are you talking about, Cole? Good question, Henry. This year, Inspired Word Cafe was lucky enough to get some funding from the Canadian Red Cross. The Canadian Red Cross put out some community support funding for arts organizations to do cool stuff with, to sort of adapt to the pandemic. So one of the ways Inspired Word Cafe has chosen to adapt to the pandemic this year is sort of getting into the pedagogy game, getting us some of that good pedagogy money. You know what I'm saying? Finally getting them pedagogy dollar bills. You know what I'm talking about, Kurt. That's where the money is. Teaching. It's a good.
Yeah, because there's so much of it, Cole.
Yeah. Yes. Great. Thank you, Kurt. I feel confident about that. But we did get a little bit to do some teaching. So what we did is we put together a video poem tutorial. We put together this wonderful module that kind of walks you through the basics of how to create a video poem. And as part of that, we got some local artists to create some video poems. So we're going to show those in a moment. The video poem tutorial is not up on our website yet. We're really close. There's just a little bit of editing that has to go on, but it's really close, and it's just going to kind of be free on our website for anyone that wants to learn a bit about video poems. We're going to try to disseminate it locally to some other organizations, and it's also going to be part of our youth mentorship program this year. So the youths are going to be our guinea pigs on the old video poem tutorial. So getting that child labor in to IWC to really weed those video poem tutorials down to be useful. They're pretty rad, and a lot of really great work has gone into them. So the video poems that were created, Em and Shimshon were contracted to create a video poem and inseminate the youths. I don't know if we want to do that. I don't know. The IWC does not condone any of the previous remarks about inseminating youths with pedagogy, metaphorically or not. Instead, maybe I don't. Okay. The video poems. So Emmett and Shimshon have created a wonderful video poem. And so has Mark Bertolutti, another IWC regular, has teamed up with Craig Carpenter. Craig's here tonight. We're going to hear from him and Mark afterwards as well. But Craig is he's a poet. He's got years and years of experience doing audio and video stuff for CBC and some other stuff. I don't actually have his bio here in front of me, but he's a master or a master student up at UBCO. And he just does wonderful work. He once came out and played the Saw at IWC. I don't know if you remember that from the documentary. I made a funny joke about saws. And so Craig teamed up with Mark and they made this beautiful video poem. I'm so stoked on both of these poems. So please, Shimshon's going to rig these up for you. Stick around, get your volume up. If for some reason it doesn't work, these will also be hosted on our website and they're on our YouTube, but you can't search them just yet, but they'll all get launched together with the video poem module. But if you're thirsting for more, I'm sure we can find out a way for you to see these wonderful video poems if it does not work for you here, which I know sometimes playing these things over Zoom, it doesn't always go well. But here we go. Shimshon, how are we doing on rigging these things up? Who are we playing first?
Just because I feel guilty about doing my own first. Let's do Mark and Craig's first.
Okay, great. And then Mark and Craig, did you want to say anything before we play this at all? We're gonna get to an interview where you get some more time to talk about it. But even Mark, did you guys want to maybe say what the title is? And you're welcome to maybe say a word or two if you'd like as well.
No, I think we could let it speak for itself.
Sure.
Unless Mark's got something to say. Yeah, let's listen to it. I did want to just mention that Chelsea Edwardson's done the sound music for this, and she is a wonderful composer and musician. So
the music is beautiful for this.
Mm-hmm.
She did a wonderful job.
She did. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to hearing it. Turn your volume up, everybody. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Mark's got nothing, so let's roll the clip.
When what we feel is love. I've been working hard and playing even harder and faster than I ever have before. Music is on my mind and rhythm is in my soul, and it's going out of control. Now I just want more and more, so I've been seeming to find. My innovation's in me, and my inspiration will set me free. Beyond as far as the eye can see, there is eternity for you and me. When the emptiness starts to creep up, remember it just must be the weather above, because we are never alone in what we feel is love. Close enough. I drove past the old place yesterday. Memories came rushing back, flushing my face even today. I've done a lot of thinking about the past. Wondering what tomorrow will bring when today has come and gone so fast. I just sit and reminisce how once we used to be close enough to see a destiny. There is a reason for everything, the answer lies within. Somewhere deep inside our souls, love will conquer all and leave its toll. Love will win. I just can't spend my life saying to myself it must be nice, hoping you are somewhere out there feeling the same I do too. All about love. This road that I travel on leads me back to where I'm from, back to where it all began, making me into who I have become, the man I am. Now another year has come and gone, and time just keeps ticking on and on. With hard times comes hard knocks, trust that's just the way it goes. Sometimes life sucks, so we must all know, Life is all about love and not just the lust of the almighty buck. I've heard so many people say tomorrow is always another day. Though when things don't go your way and your sorrow turns to pain, just remember these simple words I say. Today is always a brand new day. Don't let it slip away.
That was so dope. Ah, stoked. I've got some questions for you, but we'll get to that after we run the other wonderful video poem as well. But I just like every time I hear that, I feel like Mark, you've never sounded better. You really pulled this wonderful performance out of Mark, Craig. So yeah, great job, you two. Tell us how what you think about those video poems in the chat. We're gonna get to our next video poem created by MacMillen and Shimshon Obadia. So Shimshon, did either of you want to say anything before we run the clip? Before you run the clip?
No, that's good.
Let's watch it.
Is there a title?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Oh yeah,
The title's in it. So
yeah.
Great.
Well, this is embarrassing. I'm having technical difficulties with my own video. Give me a second.
Dun, dun, dun.
Shoot,
One last for the
sorry.
season. Okay, let's see what we got to do here. So I'm gonna fill some time. Look at this. Somebody changed one letter. Pretty tasteless stuff, people. I don't know who did that. Paw Patrol would never say that word, that's for sure. This one's pretty clean though. Okay, I filled enough. Here we go. Video poem. No video
Getting
poem
there,
yet.
getting there.
Okay, what else we got here? Boy, this is a big box of Itchy Band, huh? What's the deal with Itchy Band these days? What's the deal with airplane food these days, huh? So tiny and I don't know. There's a Seinfeld joke in there somewhere, right?
Okay, I got it.
Okay, here
Sorry.
we go.
Sleepy furs on your rumpled hind quarter.
Drowsy, somnolent, languid, languorous, heavy.
You shift in rest, my mountain friend.
Sometimes I think about being swallowed whole by the sun, letting rays wrap around me.
Nodding,
asleep, yawning, lethargic, sluggish.
Sniffling slowly aflow, at a pace only the sky can see.
In tendril curlicues until I am swaddled in sunlight, baking away the day until my tanned skin curls at the edges and my bones are brittle.
Enervated,
torpid, comatose, snoozy, dopey.
A wink, a belittled sigh, breathes before sunset,
slumberous, oscillant, soporific, dozy, yawny. Sometimes I think about the setting sun, casting the blanket of dusk across the valley, rolling my hardened body.
Here, the world is good. Hear me, the world can still be good as you.
Hypnotic, quiet, peaceful, tranquil, placid. Through the mountain trees down to the shores of the lake where I wait. Inactive, tired, dull, boring, backwater, slow.
Wish to be still, to inhale, to the sky, my friend, sleep in.
Fingers dipped in water still icy for the sunrise to gulp me down again.
Until at least the afternoon.
This poem was a production of Inspired Word Café Society, was made possible with funding through the Emergency Support Community Organization Grant Program from nonprofits and Canadian Red Cross and Government of Canada COVID-19 pandemic. Other pieces sold separately. All right, pretty cool, hey? We made those. What, were you tearing up there? Someone was tearing up. There's no crying here, especially if you're a man. That's not masculine. That's not what we...
Tearing, Cole.
Oh, tearing. It's a homonym. Gets me every time. That was very impressive. Magical. Beautiful. Great job, Em and Shimshon. Those L'Oreal kids can go to hell. I only read half of yours, Ken. No more tears, right? Yeah, no more tears. Nice. I see what you're doing there. That was a good joke. Okay, so to end the show tonight, we're going to do a little bit of an interview. So I thought maybe to start the night, instead of starting with silly questions like we often do with our interview, I would just love to hear a little bit about the poems themselves and the process from each of the groups of poets. So maybe we'll go to Mark and Craig first, as their poem was played first. Maybe the two of you could just talk a little bit about your experience on the project. What was it like making this poem? Is there anything that you'd love to tell us? Any cool stories that happened? I'd just love to hear about your process. I think what you made is beautiful.
Well,
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Mark. You go ahead.
I'm just so grateful for your time and energy and what you did with those, and how you found the three poems that really coincided with each other. And I really, every time I see that thing, I get chills down my spine. And I love you, man. Just like you love me, man. I love you, man.
Thanks, Mark. Well, that's it. I mean, those three poems were love kind of, love will find a way. That's it. So love will win. And yeah, they all kind of, it all came together. I listened through all of Mark's poetry and that he had up on his SoundCloud. And initially we were going to do a couple different ones. And I had this whole idea where we were going to shoot the sea, and the sea was going to be breathing, and we were going to link together the poem about breath, that another awesome poem of yours. But I really liked Mark's, I really liked the rawness in Mark's voice, and for me, there was this kind of journey and so bringing those poems together, and then just this theme that just sort of came naturally was the road. And so it just sort of all came together really naturally. And, a big shout out to Chelsea, who's not here, but she helped create the music. And yeah, I mean, it was instrumental in this as well. So yeah.
Instrumental.
Yeah, so to speak. Yeah. So I had a great fun doing it. I had a lot of fun. And so, you know, wow. And I just love that last video poem and how different the two video poems are. And for me, I think it's interesting to think how poems coincide with creating other things, right? Like what comes out of Mark's words through this collaboration was almost, it's like a new creation, right? That's apart from the words and but also with them. So I just think it's pretty cool to see what great possibilities there are in creating video poems. You know, what a cool medium, what a cool, you know, thing to do. It's super fun. So
Totally.
thanks.
We sort of like every time we play it and somebody else experiences it, it's also kind of like a new performance of the work as well, kind of building on your point about you know, the first it's a poem, but then it's a video poem, which is something totally different, but each time it's kind of mapped on to a different audience. Like it gets this new life, and there's something really magical about video poems in that way, like especially when if you put it on YouTube and you see something like how many people have watched it and like how many times that poem has been performed in a sense. And so yeah, I agree. It's so cool to see you guys come together on some of those poems that I've heard before, but are just so magical in this new form. Okay, we'll come back to you. Yeah. 2 thumbs up, Mark. So we'll come back to you. We're gonna ask the same question to Em and Shimshon.
Yeah.
Em Shimshon, maybe just tell us a little bit about the process, the poems, anything that was really notable that kind of went down. We just love to hear how you did it. How did you approach this?
Oh, I'm waiting for Shimshon to do the thing.
Get to work, Shimshon.
I was sending the request to myself.
You're muted, Shimshon.
Oh shoot! I was sending the request to myself to turn off my video. I was like, why won't this person turn on their video? It's me.
So yeah, Shimshon and I work in a pretty collaborative way most of the time on these kinds of projects, and so we ended up brainstorming a lot of the images that we wanted to use in the final piece and filmed them, and then Shimshon did the audio work for it, and I was the one who did the final video edit. So that's kind of the process for how we went through and did it. The reasoning for that is video editing is my preferred editing, and audio editing is Shimshon's preferred editing. So that all worked out. And yeah, it was a really nice to be able to do some video poetry again. It's been a while since I have done any of that. And so it was really nice to work with Shimshon on that.
Yeah, one of the things we've learned, I think, from doing so many different types of collaborations over the years is that it really helps to like understand where the other person's lane is. And I think that took us like a decade at least to learn. Like there's a really kind of difficult back and forth when you both have so many different overlapping skills. And then bringing those together, you can sometimes kind of have a lot of overlap that lets things sometimes come to, you know, really great spontaneous decisions, and then like other times it just becomes like a total clusterfuck and you're just kind of like, what is going on here? So I really like that here we've like really refined this, like, you know, Emmett will do the video because he loves that stuff, but I hate it. I hate editing video. I can do it, but I hate having to do it. But I love doing audio, and we kind of reverse, vice versa, like we was saying. It was great when it came to, you know, like the writing, coming up with the words, where we both had, actually both these poems were ones that we had started, each of us, at the same time, we had gone up to rent a little cabin on a lake somewhere just out northern BC, and we were reflecting on this same moment, but in very different ways. And we just kind of kept hacking away at each of these poems for the past couple of years, and then finally, this was like an opportunity to really bring the words out and combine them. And it's like, if you look at what we wrote a couple years ago by that lake, responding to this sunset moment, and like what it ended up turning out, they're like totally different poems because of the way that we were bringing them together and thinking about the way that we wanted to tell an additional layer of story through the images that added this meaning, so that ideally, you know, you could listen to it and you can get so much out of just the poem that we wrote together, but then you can also watch it, you can get a lot out of the video. And then of course the ultimate idea with a video poem here was that you watch it and listen to it together, and you get this third thing created, where you get this meaning that you couldn't have got from just one piece or the other, but each individual portion kind of stands on its own, kind of like a metaphor for our collaboration style.
We don't like metaphors here in IWC. They're not really our thing. Plain, straight sort of language. Em, I just muted you because I was getting a little bit of echoey-ness. I'm not sure if other people heard that, but I didn't mean to.
That is because Shimshon is sitting about 5 feet away from me, so
that's what
we
I
were
thought.
probably picking up their very boisterous talking.
Yes.
So
I thought that, but thanks. It's really interesting to kind of think a little bit about collaboration. I think that in this kind of like COVID context, collaboration it's more important than ever. It seems it's some of the only ways that we can connect. I've been thinking about you, Travis, this year, connecting with Nigel and doing some of the Ghost Coach stuff. And yeah, like Ken said, like all the new collabs this season, like there's been some really wonderful kind of cross-pollination and it's been really wonderful to kind of see everyone kind of respond to having to move things online, and there's response to that being to sort of like work together to make new stuff, which is always really cool. Okay, so we're ripping through our time here. I'm gonna ask one more normal question for everyone, and then I do want to hear a little silly one at the end to close the season out. So normal one, you have a couple of choices. I'm going to ask everyone to either speak to one of two things. So if you could talk, maybe if there was like a challenge that you overcame in the process of making this video poem, I would love to hear about it. Having sort of put together this video poem tutorial, I'm super interested to listen to folks talk a little bit more about the ones that they made. But your other option, if you were just like, no, this was dope, there was nothing that went there, there was not a challenge, it was the greatest thing ever, and maybe that's the case. So if that's the case for you, I would like you to maybe give a little bit of advice to potential video poets out there. What have you learned in this process that you might kind of share? We'll start with you, Mark. Something you learned in this process, or a challenge that you overcame. One of those two things, Mark.
I learned the rawness of my poetry came out and actually meant something to somebody. And that's the best thing I could take away from that. It meant something to somebody. And just to come out with something like that was incredible. I'm in awe.
Well, I mean, that's not a new thing, Mark. I'm sorry. Your poems mean lots to everyone that comes out every week all year, or every month all year. I've got a pile of them in my desk upstairs. Your poems mean a lot to everyone. So I don't know if that was that new, Mark. Thanks for sharing it, though.
Your awesomeness.
Yeah, I love you, man. Okay, Craig, how about you?
So maybe advice. Yeah, I think it went it went so well, and I think advice would just be to I mean, it was really, I mean, part of this being in COVID right now, there's this, I kind of wanted to go and like shoot video of Mark and all this stuff, but a lot of that wasn't possible. So the cool thing about it was, Mark and I talked on the phone, a bit, and then, he was like, go ahead, do what you want kind of thing. And that was great, Mark, because it gave me this sort of like, okay, this freedom. And so I think my advice would be to really experiment with outside the sort of boundaries of what you think someone else wants, right? To really get into the space of actually making something new out of something, right? That you may not know what it means to the person who created it, but you're creating something, that third thing that we're talking about. And so there was a lot of great freedom in that, in the relationship that and the freedom that Mark gave to sort of I chose those poems, and he was, and then it just came together really well. So I would say just, trust your own creative vision.
Robert Creeley says, I think it is through relationships that men manage to live it, or it is only through relationships that men manage to live it all. Obviously men, it was the 60s, it was used as the general, but people managed to live it all. And I think that, that's something that's really coming out and listening to all of you talk, is that I think art is the same, right? Is that it is through relationships to other people and other artists and other pieces of art that we as artists maybe manage to live. So really thanks for your answer, Craig. How about you, Em?
I would say that any advice that I could give to people who want to make video poems is that it is a lot easier to do than you might think. You do not need to have expensive recording equipment or pay for video editing software. There are a really easy example is Instagram stories. It's in-camera editing, literally there for you. You can make your own video poems and post them to Instagram, and it requires absolutely nothing other than downloading the app. It's there's so many resources out there for you to do stuff, and just don't feel daunted by it, and just make a 30-second thing, and you can pump out a bunch of those. And it's just a really great way to engage with your own writing and your work. So just don't be afraid to do it is my biggest piece of advice.
Damn, I've got the fever. I'm ready. I want to make one. You all four of you just got me so fired up, and I want to get in on it. So, Shimshon, what about you?
Well, everyone else took the really happy give positive advice thing. So, and Em took my really my happy positive advice. So I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna answer the other question.
There you go.
Yeah, there are always challenges when you collaborate, especially when you have artists. We all have big egos, and we want to put on our best things and all of that stuff. So I mean, I kind of alluded to this a little earlier, because Em and I have worked together for 10 years or so here, and we've been creating all sorts of stuff, for better, for worse. You have different collaboration processes at any time. Anytime I think you're collaborating with someone, the hardest part, which is also the most important part in my experience, has been just to really trust your process, which sounds so cheesy, but you really have to trust your process. So when you're, clearing out those sections at the beginning, being like, hey, you're going to do video, I'm going to do audio, right? It's just you really have to trust the other person's got that. And I'm terrible at respecting those. I'm really bad about wanting to do everything and tinker with things and be a bit of a perfectionist. But it's one of the most valuable things I've been learning throughout, just art making in general, but especially when it comes to collaboration, is really just trust that things are going to work out. Trust the skills of the other people you're working with. Even if you're only working with yourself, it's just having that faith in what you're doing and in what everyone else is bringing to the table makes all the difference in the world. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be those things you want to go back and tinker with. You're always if you're a perfectionist like me, I'm always going to want to mess with things, but at a certain point you just have to put it down and go, hey, it is what it is. And that's where some of I think the best creative discoveries come out, is from that trust. And again, I'm not great at following my own advice here. I still feel like I'm learning all the time with this stuff, but it's just a really good reminder.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I don't think ever goes away. I remember recently listening to Ivan Coyote, who, they're such a prolific performer and writer, talk about it, and they still, do a shot of scotch before they get on stage and things like that, where they still, every time they get on stage, they feel inadequate and terrified, and they're like one of the most charismatic, amazing performers you'll ever see. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that you've hit on here, Shimshon, but I think that feeling may never go away. But maybe there's power and magic in that as well. Okay, so we're gonna get to one last question here, and then we're gonna close out the night. Normally we ask our kind of like silly, like if you were a vegetable, what would you be and why question. But I've heard Em and Shimshon answer that one before. I'm sure I've heard Mark at some point, but I'd love to hear Mark. So Mark and Craig, I'm gonna give you the vegetable question. So when we get to you, it'll be if you could be a vegetable, what type of vegetable and why? You gotta give us some rationale here. I don't just want some bullshit tomato answer or something, and then you don't give us any reason. I wanna connect to your soul via vegetables here. Tomatoes are a fruit. I know. Whoever's gonna type that, Henry, I get it. Tomatoes are a fruit. Well, they're a vegetable, Henry. Maybe they're also a vegetable. So the other question that you say, I'm bringing back a really old school question, not as fun, but kind of fun still. So
tomatoes are non-binary. Yes,
they probably are. So okay, so the other question I was going to bring back here is Aaron used to always ask, who would you rather take on a desert island, Raul or Aaron, when Raul or Aaron used to host together. So I'm gonna and then you got to give a rationale. And so I'm gonna say, who would you rather take on a desert island, me or Aaron, and why? Em and Shimshon, you got to answer that. You got to answer it seriously. I want some quality answers out of that. Okay, so we're gonna start with Mark and Craig. Give Em and Shimshon the opportunity to think about why they might wanna take. Just doing some stretches here. Some stretches. Oh, okay. Anyway, just stretching it out. So Mark, Craig, if you could be a vegetable, what vegetable would you be and why? Let's start with you, Mark.
I'd be a carrot because I'm all good for you.
Fucking right. Straight to the point. I would expect nothing less from Mark. He knew it. He went for it. Carrot. You would be a carrot. I can see you as a carrot, Mark. Fucking old trusty. Carrots never let you down.
I just ate a carrot from last year that my friend pulled from his garden.
Wow.
It was a really fat one, short, because he grew the carrots that grew in the shallow earth. And I guess it didn't freeze here in the Sunshine Coast. It still tasted good. I washed the earth right off of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. If I were a vegetable, though, I'm just going to go with zucchini. Because zucchinis are filled with many seeds.
There you go. and all zucchinis, because there's always, all your friends always have more than they need.
That's right. And you could make bread with them. And they also have flowers as well. That the French, they deep fry the flowers of the courgette.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Should try that out. There's always that time of year when all the old ladies got too much zucchini going on, and they start knocking on doors with bags of zucchini. It's like, you should have just picked the zucchini 2 weeks ago when it was this big instead of this big, and then you wouldn't have so much zucchini.
Yeah,
Doris,
Well, Doris has got to give it the zucchini back and say, bring back the zucchini bread, Doris.
Yeah.
We don't want the zucchini.
Yeah.
We want the bread.
All right. Thanks, Mark and Craig. Okay, Em, who'd you rather take on a desert island? Be honest.
I thought about it, and I am sorry, Cole, but I would take Erin with me. And I think that's just because Erin and I have a really good rapport, and she's a go-getter. She just gets things done. And I think that's somebody who I'd want in a survival situation.
Fair enough. I'd probably be more like Jack Sparrow and just be concerned with the
hanging out on the
beach.
Yeah, so, by the fire, just
fair enough. Fair enough. It's fine. I'm hurt, but I'll move on. Shimshon?
Oh, well, Emmett, you went about this decision-making process in the total opposite way that I did. So, Cole, I'm also going to apologize to you, but not because I'm not picking you, but because I am picking you. But you're not going to be happy when you hear my decision-making process.
Okay.
So I definitely picked you for Desert Island.
Okay.
But that's because my survival mentality was thinking, you're a vegan and I'm a pescatarian. Desert Island, we got a lot of fish, not a lot of vegan options. So when it comes to, making sure that I survive and have the most amount of resources available to me, I got all the fish. Then when you start eating the fish and potentially any milk or any other stuff you find on an island that you can't eat, including the gluten stuff, you're going to be a lot easier to kill and strip for meat.
Yeah,
so I'm really sorry, but I feel like I would just survive a little longer, better chance of rescue if I had you at my disposal. And it's
can you defeat even Gluten Week and me in a Wrath of Khan style fight between Captain Kirk and Spock with the that's what it would come down to. But I see I said the same years ago. I was asked that question about Aaron and Rawl, and I said Rawl because he has strong hands for good back rubs. So my rationale wasn't so gruesome, but I appreciate being chosen, even if it's because you think I'll die quicker or you're gonna eat me or.
Well, you would be weakened from having to adapt to eating fish so fast and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just I would have the upper hand to get a rock up behind you. Again, I'm really
fish
sorry.
Adaption weakness. That's vintage stuff. I get it.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, well now that my ego has been dashed by all these video poets here. I think that's going to be our last question for the night. We'll let everyone go here, but I'm going to say a few things first. But I just wanted to, one last time, thank you, Craig. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Em. Thank you, Shimshon, for making these wonderful video poems with IWC and sharing them with our community. Any last words? Is there anything y'all want to say at all before we move to the nightcap part of the night?
Keep your spirits up and keep writing.
Yeah. Keep writing.
Love will win.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, no worries, Mark. Okay. Shimshon, anything? Last words? No, nothing from you.
Cannibalism's a last resort.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Well, I'm
again so sorry.
I'm just gonna eat a lot of something not tasty, so you won't want to eat me, Shimshon. So okay. So thanks, Shimshon, Mark, Craig, once again. That was so wonderful. Thanks everyone who came out and read tonight. Let's have a round of applause, even if it's a fake one, if it's a home one. Let's get some snaps at home. Yeah, Kurt, like you said, more Vincent Omnia. I know that one. Fuck. It's something about time. What is that one, Kurt? Hook me up.
Love overcometh all things.
Right. Yeah. That's not the one I was thinking of.
Well, it was because it went. Yeah. Anyway.
So keep an eye out for all of our upcoming programming. Thank you, City of Kelowna, FCCS, all of our sponsors, all the volunteers, you, the audience, all of the readers. And as always, be gentle with yourself so you can learn to be gentle with someone else. We'll see you next season for the open mic. There's some other great stuff coming up. We love you. Thanks for supporting us. Good night.